Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a big pleasure and honor and privilege to be here. My name is Andriy Osadchuk. I'm the first deputy head of Law Enforcement Committee of Ukrainian Parliament. So greetings from Kiev. Not many people really understand that Kiev is one of the largest cities in Europe. Before the war, it was, I think, 3.5, 3.6 million people inside of the Kiev. For today, it is the same 3.5, 3.6 people inside of the city. The only difference between these two similar numbers is that I think something like 700,000 of citizens of Kiev had to flee, and they're somewhere here in Europe, like my three daughters, my wife, my mother. But their place in Kiev is taken by other Ukrainians who had to run away from the war from the east and south of Ukraine. So for today, Kiev hosts something like 700,000 of Ukrainians. Almost each second day during these 16 months, Kiev is under permanent Russian missiles attack. Their technology is changing from time to time, but the main part of their killing menu that they're sending kamikaze drones, then they're sending cruise missiles. Sometimes the strategy is changing, but the target is the same, to kill Ukrainians, just because they are Ukrainians and want to be the member of the free world, and to destroy our infrastructure. Like they openly said in October last year that their target is to freeze Ukrainians. By the way, the same threats were to Europe too. Just in May, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I'm not mistaken, Russians used more than 300 kamikaze drones to Kiev. All these drones were made in Iran. And for 16 months of war, I think the total amount of kamikaze Iranian drones sent to Ukraine, I think, exceeds several thousands. I'm sure that the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has an accurate figure, but it is thousands. Meaning that for us, the Iranian regime is not just one of totalitarian regimes which exist in this world, violating the human rights, killing its citizens. For us, Iranian regime is the enemy of Ukraine, the enemy of each citizen of Ukraine. Our big target is not just to kick out Russians of Ukrainian territory, which we will definitely do, but our big target is to create such a model of international law, such a model of European and international security, which will not let this nightmare to happen again. And very important part of this target is bringing to accountability everyone who committed war crimes in Ukraine. Everyone who committed and everyone who helped to commit crimes in Ukraine. So we believe that Iranian regime, its leaders and a lot of officers are directly responsible for the deaths of Ukrainians and destruction of our infrastructure, meaning that from one side we will never forgive and never forget. Secondly, we will do all of our best to bring all of them to responsibility. So, Iranian regime is the enemy of Ukraine. Secondly, the war in Ukraine happened not just from the white page. Definitely, it is the result of the huge number of mistakes which was done during decades by free world. And I think the main problem why it happens because everyone is looking for compromises. Everyone is looking for making money, which is okay to make money, no problem at all. But for the last couple of decades, the free world developed a lot of compliance rules, which divide like clean money and dirty money. It is not allowed to make a business with, I don't know, with the drug dealers, right? It's not allowed to make business with involved into human trafficking. It's not allowed to give bribes. So if you are a US or European listed company and if you do something like that, you will be seriously punished. And that's exactly what's happening from time to time. But during all these years, it was allowed to make business with totalitarian regimes, despite a number of obvious, absolutely horrible facts. Russia was killing journalists decades ago. Russia was killing people decades ago, but it was not the problem for the free world to have a business with them. The conclusion is very simple. It is impossible to cooperate or to live joint life with evil. If you will do that, you will simply make evil stronger. And earlier or later, it will become doing its evil things, like it is happening in Ukraine. So my simple message to all of you, to the people who represent very different countries of the free world, mostly all of you are politicians. Please, when you develop, promote, and implement foreign policy principles, please be tough. Please be brave. Please have zero tolerance to dictatorships. For one simple reason. If we want to give this world to our kids as a world of freedom, of prosperity, of safety and security, no compromises are possible. Forget this word. And now, when we are at that point of bloody confrontation, which is good for all of you, that is now happening just only on Ukraine, and hopefully it will finish on Ukraine. But the victory in Ukraine is the only way how we can reach peace and prosperity, not only in the European continent, but globally. So please promote one thing: zero tolerance to dictatorships. Thank you.